Tale of Verdun, Magician's Unyielding Spirit. Everything began 15 years ago. I grew up in an orphanage, parentless, and all I ever wanted was to become a great magician. Eventually, I entered the magic tower as a mere worker, hoping to learn magic, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't become a magician. All because of that first rank growth limit. It was a magic compatibility test I took when I was 7 years old, and it simply meant I couldn't become a magician without talent. For me, whose lifelong dream was to be a magician, it was a death sentence. Yet, even then, couldn't abandon it, because my only dream was to become a magician. I would sneak in to browse spell books left in the rooms while working as a humble laborer in the magic tower. I also learned from many books in the tower's library. Although I didn't possess much magical power, I was confident when it came to intelligence. A few years passed, and finally, I became a researcher at the magic tower. A friend said to Verdun, you're a genius. No, you're more than a genius. How could a regular researcher come up with something like this? This time, the entire magic tower will acknowledge you. Even the tower master, Balrog. Verdun thought to himself. It was then that I realized a truth about myself. I hadn't known. My intelligence wasn't just talent. It was on the verge of genius. Verdun said to his friend, "Thank you, Lockhart. I needed to prove this thesis before submitting it." Lockhart asked him, "So, I'm the first one you've shown this to? You haven't shown it to anyone else?" Verdun replied, "No, you're the only one I've shared it with." Verdun thought to himself, Lockhart, the only researcher I was close to, finally acknowledged me. Perhaps I'll be able to stay in the magic tower, not as a simple worker, but as a magic researcher now. That's what I thought, until he submitted my thesis as if it were his own. By the time I discovered it, it was too late. It had already reached the tower master. Verdun, holding our story card, went to the tower master and pleaded with him to believe that the thesis was his, and that it had disappeared the day before it was due, only for Lockhart to submit it under his name. The tower master said, "So, you're saying you are the author of the multidimensional continuity theory?" The protagonist thought to himself, he is the esteemed tower master, Bomern Balrog Besias. He surely won't overlook this. Verdun, happy, said, "Yes, master. If you permit me, I will explain everything from the beginning." The tower master said, "What a surprise. I never knew that among the ordinary researchers, there was someone with such talent." The tower master approached Verdun, a smile of betrayal and treachery on his face, and said, "Come to my lab in 2 days, when the moon is covered." Verdun thought to himself, if only I hadn't gone to the tower master that day. If only I had escaped the tower then. Would I have lived a normal life in the next 7 years? And so, I was forcibly imprisoned in the tower master's laboratory. A group of magicians in the magic tower tortured Verdun, yelling at him, "You despicable wretch. Tomorrow I will increase the intensity of the experiment. Prepare yourself." Verdun thought to himself, I became a worker by day and a test subject by night. I was asked to create a magic circle and prove the validity of my thesis, to inject drugs into my veins and observe the reactions myself, to invent a new potion and prove its effectiveness, and to dedicate my life to the magic tower. Even if I tried to reveal the truth, no one would believe me. All I received in return were threats from the tower master to kill those I loved. Verdun, tired from the torture and experiments, said, "It's all over. What can I do now?" He remembered the girl named Ruvelin, when they played as children, and how he promised her they would become great magicians in the future. He thought to himself, if only my growth potential had been a little higher, would things have turned out differently? I confess, it's all over. As he was in the dark, in a corner of the gloomy prison, he saw a black ant at the prison gate from the inside. At that moment, he heard a voice. That voice again. He heard it every time he was subjected to experiments. He no longer knew. He had no strength left. Perhaps it would be better if he just died. A voice, he didn't know if it was from the ant or something else, said to him, "Really? But that's not your true feeling, is it? Not yet. It's not over yet, is it? For revenge and survival. Hold on, be patient, and endure time after time. Then you will be reborn, so you won't be trampled on again, and so you will possess great power that will exceed your limits. Verdun thought to himself, his morale restored. Yes, it's not over yet. I must hone my blade of revenge, which I've been sharpening for the past 7 years with everything I have, until it's complete. If only I can solve that last problem that I'm powerless against. Against the ultimate power. Just having a smarter mind isn't enough. If that's the case, then I simply have to defy my destiny. I will redefine the theoretical framework and complete the body formation method never seen before. The heaven-defying theory. Tomorrow, I will exceed my limits. Tomorrow, I will shatter my restraints with the long-awaited sky-defying theory, which will allow me to reconstruct my body. It was only truly completed when I embraced death. Now, all that remains to prove the theory is that ancient artifact, which can allow me to cast a spell just once, even if my magic-less body shatters in the process. Tomorrow evening will reclaim my freedom. The next morning, the day's plan is to be put into motion. He heads to his workplace. Someone shouts at him, "You scumbag. It's time to clean the chemistry lab. Don't just stand there idly. Go and scrub the bloodstains and mend the wounds." All this for a pathetic, simple experiment. The festival is almost here, so don't even think about slacking off. Do you hear me? Answer me. He replies, yes. He then goes to clean the chemistry lab. Suddenly, Ravelin enters and asks him, "You cleaning alone?" Verdun replies, "Ravelin, what brings you here?" She says, "I came to bid a friend farewell before leaving." He says, "Right. You mentioned you're going to study abroad in the city of magic, Varenti. That's a special privilege granted only to the tower's most prominent talents. Congratulations. I hope things go well for you." She says, "Verdun, my offer still stands. Come with me to Varenti. Unlike this place, you won't have to deal with arrogant fools who underestimate you. Here, you might find a new learning opportunity in the city of magic. Don't misunderstand. I just want someone to talk to. That's all." Verdun says, "Ravelin, I'll stay here. I'll write you letters." Afterward, as he watches her from above in a horse-drawn carriage, he says, "Ravelin, you know nothing. You don't know what has been happening here. You don't even know what I've been through all these years. Yet, the one thing I'm grateful for is that you're not involved in my plan." On the day of the Magic Festival, one of the most globally recognized holidays, commemorating the construction of the first magic tower and celebrating the revival of magic, it is the tower's busiest day. Once the Magic Festival begins, all high-ranking mages depart to major cities, leaving behind only low-ranking mages. Verdun knocks on a mage's door and asks to enter the room. The mage says, "What brings you here at this hour?" Verdun replies, "The tower master asked me to clean the treasure vaults." The mage tells him, "You should have obtained prior permission. Didn't you even think of that, you pathetic fool? You may enter, but dare not scratch or lose a single thing." Verdun replies, "Yes, director." He then descends into the treasure vault and turns on the lights. He says, "Good. I've activated the artifact to block sound." He then goes to the bottom of the vault to reach one of the artifacts protected by a powerful magical enchantment, the second circle, a fabricated artifact for which the tower master spent an astronomical amount of money to create. It allows a mage to perform triple spell casting and temporarily awakens the holder's latent talents. To execute my plan, I need this staff. To get it, I must disable the protective magic circle. It's a level 7 enchantment, created by the tower master himself. I've spent the last 7 years studying how to break it. He attempts to break the enchantment or protection, saying, "Oh, tower master, the magic circle you're so proud of, I will destroy it myself." The story shifts to the mages on duty guarding the power source outside. One says, "The others outside are enjoying the festival, while we're stuck guarding the power source." The second replies, "Well, there's nothing we can do. We drew the short straw, after all. That's why I endure it silently. If it were based on skill, I would have chosen otherwise, of course." Suddenly, Verdun enters. One of them exclaims, "What is this?" "Verdun, isn't it? Perfect timing. Go get us more wine." Verdun goes to get them wine, and before leaving the room, he pulls out the staff after breaking the curse that protected it, or the enchantment. He brandishes the staff towards the guard who is guarding the treasures and magical artifacts. The guard says, "Verdun, are you insane?" Verdun replies, "A reaction I didn't expect at all." The guard, annoyed, says, "How dare a lowly wretch try to harm a mage? Let me fix your foolish brain first." He uses his technique, a third rank spell, Bloodwave. The protagonist retaliates with a third rank spell, Earth Spear, which penetrates the mage's spell, repels his attack, and severely wounds the mage. The guard mage says, "How did you manage? How can someone like you, just a first rank, use magic?" Verdun says, "Are you surprised that a mere lab rat can cast magic? This is what happens when you manipulate people too much. You and the tower both." He then kills him and the guards who were guarding the power source. He approaches and says, "This is the first time I've seen it up close, the magic tower's power source. It took 7 years to reach this point. Now, using the mana from the power source, I will begin the sky-defying challenge. If I truly fail, I don't know what will happen to me, but if I don't try, I'll never know." He creates a spell, or one was already there. He goes to the center and reconstructs the body, the sky-defying challenge, and casts some of the spells he learned over the past 7 years. A huge energy explodes, illuminating the sky and the lands near the magic tower. In one of the mountains, there was the head of the magic tower, or the magic tower master. He says, "This enormous magical power is energy from the power source, meaning someone has infiltrated my magic tower." We move to the magic tower, and we find that the hero of our story, the magic tower, has been destroyed by the explosive energy that erupted from the power source. From amidst the rubble, the hero emerges, clutching the magic scepter, but the scepter crumbles in his hand. The hero says to himself, "It was destructive enough to annihilate the entire region, yet my survival must mean that the rebuilding of my body was successful." He looks up at the sky, and a strange light approaches him. The hero says, "Someone is heading this way. It's the Lord of the Magic Tower." Did he sense that something bad happened to his men? The Lord of the Magic Tower arrives at the scene and casts a spell, attempting to strike the hero, but he doesn't know who destroyed the place. He reaches the location and finds a teleportation circle. He exclaims, "How dare they touch the magic tower? I don't care who it is, whether it's the emperor himself or even a mere child. I will strike you down and erase you from existence." Somewhere else, the hero feels sleepy and unable to move due to the pain in his body. He doesn't fully grasp his surroundings, but he hears the sound of gurgling water. He goes to drink the water, then asks himself, "What in the name of hell is this? Where am I? Wasn't I fleeing? What happened? My appearance has changed. I don't look like this. My brown hair has turned a pale gray, and instead of my black pupils, I now have clear blue eyes. Have I become someone else entirely? Did something happen during the rebuilding of my body? But I thought it was successful. After I encountered the man from the magic tower, I succeeded in defying the heavens, and before the Lord of the Magic Tower could find me, I quickly fled using the teleportation spell, and then I ended up here. I've never seen this forest before, nor have I seen any of these plants in the Boheimeran Magic Tower. This means, I think, that I've successfully teleported across half a continent. In other words, I succeeded in executing the heaven-defying feat of transforming my body and escaping using the magic circle I had prepared beforehand. Oh, my joy! I am free. I wonder how the Lord of the Magic Tower feels now. I'm sure he's furious because since the Magic Tower is destroyed, they have no way of knowing the culprit, or that I escaped. But this isn't enough to bring down the Magic Tower. Despite their loss of manpower, I'm confident that the Tower Lord has countermeasures. Furthermore, Balrog Pijas wasn't nicknamed the Capable of the Impossible for nothing. But this is enough for now. While the Magic Tower is being rebuilt, I will grow stronger for my revenge. I will destroy everything he built before his eyes, and thus the name of the wizard Verdun will be immortalized in history. Revenge and proving myself as a wizard. That is my only goal. I think I will forget about the magic tower for a while. Later, while wandering through the forest, He finds a goblin who has robbed a merchant, but the hero tries out a new magic skill, Windcut. He decapitates the goblin. He says to himself, I think something went wrong during the rebuilding of my body. Regardless of my hair and eye color, my overall appearance hasn't changed much, and even my mana comprehension abilities haven't changed. I have no way of knowing what happened yet. This is truly worrying. Since goblins roam the area, I must be very far from the nearest village. But there are traces of carriage skids. Did they drop some of their belongings in a hurry? I will sense the mana to find the owner of this box. The mana reveals the tracks of the carriage that carried the boxes, and projects an image of the boxes' owner's location to the hero. A young man appears on a horse-drawn cart, fleeing in fear. He says, Damn, what was that? By the creator of the heavens, how did I end up in this mess? The problem wasn't colliding with the bandits, who were supposed to have been recently wiped out during my passage through the forest, nor was it my failure to negotiate with them, saying that I had connections with Baron Pyth, and that all my mercenaries fled for their lives. That wasn't the problem either. But what about that ORC and its terrifying smile? Fortunately, the goblin was busy attacking those thieves. Otherwise, I'd be dead by now. He rushes towards the city, but he hears a sound in the forest. He says, They're chasing me. Faster, horses, faster. But one of the carriage wheels falls into a pit on the road, and the carriage overturns. The young man is injured in his back from the impact. When he realizes what happened, he looks into the forest and sees many goblins. He is terrified and falls to the ground. He says, I can't believe I'll meet my end at the hands of monsters. The goblins attack the young man fiercely. He says to himself, This is the end. During the attack, and before they can harm the young man, the hero, Wizard Verdun, appears and surrounds the young man with an earth wall to protect him from the goblins. The hero says, I think I forgot to leave an opening for him to breathe. Well, I guess I can clear it before he suffocates. This is my first real battle, if I don't count the goblin I faced earlier. He tries out a fire ability. He says, This is perfect for testing my abilities. The protagonist's fiery arrows and whirlwind abilities decimate the goblins, but a distinct, smiling goblin commander stands among them, urging his troops forward. The protagonist, combining multiple flame arrows and a whirlwind ability, unleashes a dual-cast blazing wave arrow, incinerating and striking all goblins. He marvels to himself, I even impress myself. I couldn't kill a single goblin before, but now they're all gone. I need to get Mabo out before he faints. I came all this way to save him, but it will all be in vain if he dies. Lost in thought, the giant goblin, distinct from the others, attacks from behind, a confident smile on its face. No need to worry, it says. The scene shifts. The protagonist is now riding a horse-drawn carriage and asks the young man driving, Do thieves appear often in this area? I heard thieves usually avoid monster-infested regions. The young man replies, No, this is the first time I've encountered them here. This forest is under the control of Baron Baith. I was told that the thieves in this region were supposed to have been defeated. That's why I took the usual route without any expensive mercenaries. I guess my luck just ran out today. The protagonist, Verdun the mage, thinks to himself, I thought my instant transfer had failed, but it seems I've arrived at the right place. As long as I'm in Baron Baith's domain, even though I erased all traces and changed my appearance, Bohemian Tower of Magic is probably looking for me. The young man asks the protagonist, I almost forgot to ask, when there was that horde of monsters, were you ever in danger or trouble? I apologize for asking such a silly question. The protagonist thinks, this person talks a lot. He replies, well, it was a bit dangerous. One of them was still alive. He remembers the giant goblin's attack and activating his wind cutter technique to kill it. Verdun thinks, for now, I'll need to hide my identity and focus on increasing my power. The young man, the carriage driver, says, Sir, can you hear me? Verdun remembers he hasn't introduced himself to the young man yet. He thinks, the time I use my real name will be when I face the leader of the mages Tower. My name is Asher. After nightfall, they arrive at Baith Domain, the Baron's estate. A guard appears and exclaims, "Conrad, what happened to you? I'm sorry, are you alright? It wasn't just a bandit attack, but monsters too." Conrad replies, "Don't worry, it's not your fault." He looks at Asher, who is by the carriage, checking on the horse. "Is this the mage who helped you? I can't stay silent with my friend's savior right in front of me. Tell him to come into the castle." Asher enters the castle to meet Baron Baith. He finds the Baron at the dining table. "It seems I haven't introduced myself yet. I am Baron Baith Heinrad, the Lord of this domain, Lord of Baith Domain. Please, have a seat. You said your name was. Do you like the food?" Asher replies, "Yes, it's really delicious." Baron Baith rewards him, saying, "For saving Conrad, I have prepared 5 million elks. Tell me when you'd like them. And though it may seem hasty, I ask you, if it's suitable, I would like to employ you for a task. I will make sure you are generously rewarded." Asher thinks to himself, "To achieve my goal, I'll need money, and this will also give me an opportunity to practice magic in combat." He asks, "Can you tell me what kind of work you have in mind?" The Baron explains, "A few days ago, we found bodies hanging from their necks in the southern forest. According to our investigation, they were all residents of a nearby farming village. We found that village in complete devastation. Although we weren't sure of the culprit at first, we discovered it was the work of bandits. However, when we tried to search the entire domain, we found nothing. All their traces were erased by magic." Asher comments, "It's probable that the bandits have a mage among them. When do you plan to pursue them?" The Baron smiles and says, "Within 4 days." 4 days later, Asher meets the individuals who will accompany him to fight the bandits. One of the knights says, "Pleased to meet you. I am a knight of Baron Baith and the leader of this operation, Enoch Dush. The black-haired man is Harris, and the young man is Barrick." They greet Asher. Asher replies, "Pleased to meet you too. I am Asher." He thinks to himself, "I had a feeling this might be a good opportunity, but who would have thought the job would be chasing bandits? I'll consider this in exchange for my stay with them." Asher asks the operation lead, "Are these people also part of this plan?" The knight answers, "These people are adventurers. It seems they gathered because they heard rumors about a strange goblin that appeared recently. The reward for killing it seems to be quite good. Even gold-ranked adventurers are here too." Gold-ranked adventurers are on the same level as ordinary knights. In other words, they are seasoned warriors, skilled in using energy to strengthen themselves and their weapons. There are rumors that people of that rank are capable of cutting mountains. The knight adds, "Please tell us if there really is a mage among the bandits." Asher replies, "All right, but may I ask why you need me?" Enoch explains, "Usually, second-level mages possess similar strength to ordinary knights, but if they start using long-range spells, that makes it much more difficult for knights to close the gap. The best-case scenario would be that we don't have to deal with a mage in the first place." Suddenly, Asher steps forward and says, "There's a magic circle in front of us," and dispels the magic that was hiding it. Enoch exclaims, "A magic circle suddenly appeared. How can something like this be in the domain?" Asher tells him, "Seems the spell I just disabled was a decoy, and this is to warn the user, stay behind me. I'll go ahead and disable this too." He then disables the magic circle. Commander Enoch thinks to himself, how can he disable magic circles so easily? Who in the hell is this? The explorers are a group of people belonging to a guild who undertake missions across the continent to explore unknown lands or repel monsters that threaten people. Death always lurks beside the adventurer, but nevertheless, people admire them because skill brings wealth and fame. However, when an adventurer becomes so strong from their near death experiences that they lose control of themselves, turning their blade towards humans, surrendering to their greed and abandoning their honor, they ultimately end up as mere bandits. A group of bandits appears before us, having caught a gazelle. One of them says, "The damage left by the raiding party of Pyth is still evident, and now we are surprised by an attack from ghouls, not to mention our food running out." He yells at his followers, What in the name of the hell's creator are you doing? Don't just stand there watching. Go hunt something, anything. As he yells at his followers, behind the tree stood the protagonist and his raiding party, preparing to attack the bandits. Harris says, "I think it's them. What should we do, sir? We await your orders." Enoch replies, "Since they've lowered their defenses, we'll attack them immediately." Asher goes and takes Enoch's hand, saying, "Hold on, Sir Enoch. I accompanied you as a countermeasure against arrows, but we haven't yet measured the enemy's strength. If the enemy has a magic circle higher than mine, we might be defeated." Enoch says, "But Sir Asher, if they start moving." Asher replies, "There's a way." The bandit leader says, "After all the effort I put into expanding our operational area, the follower I recruited from the village last time ended up dead too." One of his followers says, "Oh, Farja, how destructive. Let's think of a counter plan." The gang leader replies, "Who would have thought that a ghoul, a clown, would come and kill all his followers? I never imagined something like this could happen when I was working as an explorer. If only I hadn't been caught killing another explorer for money. By the way, Vilchin, what do you think about attacking another village?" Vilchin says, "That won't work. The Baron is furious because we hung the corpses on the trees. We used to invent using stealth magic, but now it's time to move. I heard there's a city called Martis nearby." As they are talking, flame attack strikes. They don't understand what's happening and activate their defensive technique. The leader says, "This is an unexpected explosion." Vilchin says, "It's not just an explosion, it's magic." Commander Enoch and his followers attack the bandits. He wounds Vilchin. The gang leader looks at him, annoyed, unsure whether to help him or fight them. While he's thinking about what to do, he hears a voice saying, "A mana barrier is a defensive skill characterized by quick casting, but it can be easily penetrated because it's not solid enough. Breaking a mana barrier sends a strong shockwave back to its caster. That man, he's a wizard. Now that their strength has been revealed, I will confront the wizard as you requested." Enoch says, "Please, Sir Asher, eliminate him." The bandit leader says, "The Baron is truly determined to get us this time, isn't he? He hired a wizard and all these people, but things won't go as he wishes." He rushes towards Commander Enoch to fight him, shouting, "I will send your heads to the Baron as my response." Commander Enoch smiles and says, "How scary. Try if you can." Our protagonist goes after the wizard who is trying to conceal the bandits' tracks. The wizard thinks to himself, "I was planning to escape, but he's chasing me. Fortunately, he's chasing me with an earth wall, but those of the third circle and above can use flying magic. And this man is only of the second circle." They reach a place where they can fight. The protagonist stands on the edge of the cliff he created. The wizard initiates an attack with multiple ice arrows. The wizard thinks to himself, "I'll start the attack. If he's only of the second circle, I'll kill him here before I escape." Our protagonist launches a multi-flame arrow technique at the wizard, but the wizard dodges the attack, and it hits the ground, causing a large explosion. The wizard says, "Not bad for a second circle user, but you chose the wrong man to fight. If you had come with the knight, you would be in a difficult position, but alone. I can kill you here and then escape." Our protagonist Asher says, "I have no intention of letting you escape." The wizard says, "Such confidence and the ability to use complex elemental magic at such an early age. I haven't seen such promising talent as yours in a long time, but perhaps it never occurred to you that you would be crushed here today." He attacks him with the third circle magic technique, falling ice. The technique produces a massive piece of ice from the sky, falling onto the protagonist. While the wizard is pleased with the size of the ice spell he can produce, our protagonist casts the Earth Spear spell, blocks the ice spell, and shatters the spell with the Earth Spear. The wizard looks at him, frightened, and says, "Earth Spear? How can a second circle wizard use a third circle spell?" As he falls to the ground, scared, our protagonist casts the multiple ice spear technique. The wizard says, "Not only did he use a third circle spell, but he also possesses 4 elements. Don't tell me, was he deceiving me from the beginning?" Our protagonist kills him with the ice spell. After finishing him off, he says, "Good thing I came in disguise. I learned how to face the wizard. 2 days before the expedition, I created an experimental medicine using ingredients I brought from the magic tower. I call it the Magic Circle Expander. When I think of those hellish days I spent in the magic tower, I never wanted to conduct human experiments again. But thanks to the experiments I conducted on myself, I was able to reach the 3rd level. The protagonist looks at the wizard lying dead on the ground and says, I must leave evidence of defeating the bandits if I want to prove that I completed the mission and earn his trust. One of the squad soldiers comes to take the bandit wizard. The protagonist says, wait, I managed to deal with the bandits. The soldier replies, yes, although we still have to deal with their leader, Sir Enoch. He's fighting him now. He should be dealt with by the time we return. He looks at our protagonist, pleased with the elimination of the bandits. Our protagonist says, can I ask one thing before we return? The soldier replies, yes, of course, go ahead. The protagonist asks, what do we do with the bandits' belongings? The soldier says, our Lord told us that if you like anything, as long as it's not something we need, you can take it. He takes the staff the bandit wizard was using. He evaluates the staff. It's a magical stone staff with an enchantment applied to it that reduces the time needed to cast spells and increases the effectiveness of ice element spells. It might be useful to me. Sir Barrack arrives to check on Asher. He says, I was worried about you after we dealt with all the bandits. The protagonist apologizes, saying I'm sorry. He was stronger than I expected. It took me some time to deal with him. Barrack says, judging by the damage to the surrounding ground, I'd say it was a tough battle. After they arrive at the bandit camp and gather, Enoch tells him, excellent work, Asher. If it weren't for you, we would have had more casualties. He replies, not at all. This was actually a great experience for me. The bandit leader looks at the wizard and says to himself, Velshin is dead? This is impossible. Damn it. If this continues, we'll have to return to the Lord and be executed. I can't die in the countryside like this. There's still so much I want to see. I have no choice. I must escape. The bandit leader takes a sword and injures some soldiers in an attempt to escape, shouting, get out of my way. He thinks to himself, without Velshin's magic, I can't break through their ranks. This leaves me with only one way. I'll kill the knight, steal his horse, and get out of here. The bandit leader rushes towards the knight, but Knight Enoch blocks the attack. He grabs him and throws him to the ground. The bandit leader exclaims, what the hell is this? Commander Enoch orders them to throw his sword away, tie him up, and don't let him move. The bandit leader asks the commander, how dare you throw away your sword? Don't you have a knight's pride? Enoch replies, what do you mean? Pride is something only the living possess, my thieving friend. The commander stabs the bandit leader. He goes to the protagonist, Asher, and says, I'm sorry for showing you such an ugly sight. If I had more time, I would have cleanly severed his neck. I don't always fight like this. The protagonist says, impressive work, Sir Enoch. He looks at the rest of the gang and asks, why are you leaving them alive? He replies, well, I heard there were some familiar faces among the bandits. I think they might be survivors from the Farmtown attack. That's why we plan to transport them to the castle and confirm their identities. Before we decide their fate, one of the knights orders the remaining soldiers to prepare to return to the castle and transport the bandits. The bandit leader appears before us, apparently not killed, but hit on the head to knock him unconscious. He looks at his gang members being transported to the castle, looking scared and stressed about what will happen to him at the castle. Suddenly, he shouts and starts running. I don't want to die like this. One of the soldiers goes after him, saying, I'll handle you. The protagonist says, wait a minute, something strange. Suddenly, they hear a scream from among the trees. Wait, help me, please. As they prepare for what's about to happen, a crushing attack hits the soldier in the head. While they are still trying to comprehend what's happening, a goblin appears and attacks them. They exclaim, is that a goblin? I can't believe it. Our protagonist tells them to believe it. He thinks to himself, could it be that the adventurers failed to defeat them? Moreover, there's not just one. I can feel the presence of dozens more. That goblin must be the leader of those monsters. He's similar to one I've seen before. His mouth has a long angle that makes him look like he's smiling, and he's enormous, making him superior to others of his kind. He must have evolved into a giant goblin. The giant goblin orders the rest of the goblins to attack them. Commander Anak orders the soldiers, everyone, take defensive positions. Focus on the goblin first. We'll deal with the ORCs later. The giant goblin attacks the commander, striking him with his sword, causing him to fall to the ground in pain from the blow. The giant goblin tries to stomp on Commander Anak, but the knights with him, Harris and Barrack, save the commander. After being rescued, the commander goes and attacks the giant goblin, stabbing him in the chest. After that, the commander goes to his comrades, who are looking at the giant lying on the ground. The giant goblin takes one of the smaller goblins and eats it to heal from the wounds he sustained. After healing from his injuries, he prepares to attack them. The commander says, "Did he heal by eating his own kind? I don't think we'll be able to return safely." The ogre throws the sword it's carrying towards Knight Harris. He tries to block the sword, thinking, why did the giant ogre suddenly throw its sword? But he can't block it, and it pierces his body. His comrade, Barrack, cries out in fear for his friend, but the giant ogre turns towards him to attack. He thinks, when did it get here? I'll cut it to pieces. But as he tries to cut it, the sword gets stuck in the giant ogre's muscles. He tries to pull the sword out, but it won't come out. While the giant ogre is trying to attack the knight, our hero, Asher, intervenes. He activates his earthquake spell to save Knight Barrack from the ogre's attack, telling him, "Come this way." Barrack says, "I'm safe. But what do we do now, Asher? I couldn't get my sword back." Asher says, "I think its regeneration speed and physical toughness increased after it consumed Barrack." Barrack doesn't understand. He says, "It was a single blow. With all my might trying to cut its arm, I couldn't cut an ogre this strong. Could it be a special creature mentioned in legends?" Our hero, Asher, says, "That's not it. Regeneration and power through consumption. Allow it to lead those beneath it and incite madness. It has the power to even subdue knights. It's completely different from ordinary ogres. But if that's all there is to it, then it's too weak to be called a special creature. Ordinary magic has limits. Even if you pour more mana into it, it can't expand beyond a fixed range. If you exceed the limit, the magic itself collapses. That's the rule of magic. But there's one spell that isn't subject to this restriction." Our hero activates the geographical manipulation spell. The geographical manipulation spell causes tremors that the soldiers at the location feel. The soldiers scream. The ground is shaking. First other species of ogres, and now an earthquake. I was wrong. We're all doomed. Commander Enoch orders the soldiers, "Everyone stay calm and hold your positions." This is Asher's magic. He thinks to himself, but how can anyone stay calm in front of this scene? He looks around, and the ground has risen above the normal ground, with ogres below them. Some try to climb, but can't. They fall to the ground. Our hero prepares to cast a third rank spell, Fireball, to eliminate the ogres. Knight Barrack looks at the burning ogres and says, "My God, they're burning. Burn them all." Commander Enoch tells him, "Barrack, maintain some dignity." But he doesn't care, and says, "But seeing them scatter is very satisfying." Our hero defines the spell. The third rank geographical manipulation spell has no limit to its expansion, but no mages use it as their main spell because the immense amount of mana it consumes isn't worth the effort compared to its power. He says, "If only I had enough mana. I hoped to create a force exceeding the third rank, but it's below my expectations." While he's deep in thought, he hears the sound of the ogre with the strange smile. The soldiers behind him are scared and tense. Barrack goes to Asher and asks him, "What do we do now? It's still alive." Our hero thinks to himself, if it doesn't want to burn to death, he activates the ice spell. "Multiple ice arrows. Winter storm," he says. "I'll freeze it to death." He casts the spell and combines biting frost arrows with multiple ice arrows. But it doesn't affect the giant ogre. Asher says, even if it can regenerate endlessly, or doesn't feel pain. He tries to freeze the giant ogre's body and thinks, if its body freezes, it won't be able to move. He casts the freezing wound spell and freezes the ogre. He looks at it, now frozen, and says, subjugation complete. The story shifts to the magic city of Ferenti. Two men are looking at news in newspapers and magazines. One says, did you see the news? The other man replies, yes. The magic tower is closed now. I understand everything. And I heard that the magic tower's power source exploded. Most of the remaining mages disappeared, and the magic tower's function stopped. The extent of the damage is too great for a power source explosion to be the only reason. The public says it was a divine punishment or a planned disaster made by someone. Someone must have conspired to close the magic tower. Bohemian. It's impossible for the Bohemian Tower to ever close itself. From what I heard, the magic tower was conducting secret experiments and was attacked because of it. While he's talking to someone grabs him and says, repeat what you said. He says, scared. What? What's wrong with you suddenly? It's our hero's friend, Rofallon. She asks him, what happened to the Bohemian magic tower? The Baron's castle. A celebration and a revelation. The story shifts to the Baron's castle. The hero, Asher, recounts, after successfully eliminating the bandits, we returned to Bath lands. Lord Bath hosted a celebratory feast for the occasion. Lord Bath proclaimed, you all did splendidly. It's rare for a battle to pass without any casualties. He continued, now that I think about it, I don't see Asher. Just then, Asher, having changed his clothes, arrived, and asked, am I late? Lord Bath replied, no, you've arrived just in time. Come, try some wine first. Asher thanked him, adding, by the way, I didn't expect ordinary soldiers to be invited to this feast as well. Lord Bath responded, they defended the land. So what does social status matter? He then probed, speaking of the bandits you defeated, weren't they strangely strong for ordinary bandits? Asher confirmed, yes, they were completely different from the bandits I'm used to encountering. With their abilities, they could have lived comfortable lives without resorting to crime. Lord Bath, ever the astute observer, said, you are a detective. This might help you understand what happened. According to our investigations, they were wanted criminals. They were originally gold rank adventurers, but a year or two ago, one of them killed his companion and fled. Since then, they disappeared, but it seems they formed a gang and ended up here. He clarified, gold rank is the 4th highest rank among adventurers, and it can only be achieved after many accomplishments. Asher mused to himself, no wonder the bounty on their heads was 10 million. So that's why the Lord seemed so pleased. If I hadn't participated in the battle, the casualties might have been severe. Lord Bath continued, please. We managed to rescue the villagers the bandits kidnapped and held proper funerals for the victims. Lord Bath then raised his glass, declaring, raise your glasses in honor of Asher, the sorcerer who saved the lands of Bath. A heartfelt feast and looming disaster. The celebratory feast that followed the battle was starkly different from the atmosphere of the magic tower. It was a feast where no one cared about social status, where everyone celebrated together with sincere hearts. Unlike the magic tower, this warm, genuine place deeply touched Verdun, the hero of the story. For the first time since his escape from the tower, he was able to laugh truly from his heart. However, in those moments, no one had yet realized the storm that the disaster of the Bomern magic tower would bring. The magic tower's catastrophe, a search for answers and revenge. The story shifts to the magic tower, where our hero's friend, Rufallon, returned after hearing about the tower's destruction. She thought to herself, the tower is still completely intact, of course. The rumors must have been exaggerated. One of the mages in the tower asked her, did you just return from Verenti? She replied, yes. I heard the power source went out of control and destroyed the area, but the situation seems better than I expected. What a relief. Well, buildings can be rebuilt quickly. By the way, Where is Verdun? You mean Asher? The mage pointed to a crowded area. She went there and found a list of missing persons from the magic tower. Impossible. This cannot be true, she exclaimed. Missing person number 3, Verdun, disappeared during his shift in the power room. It's believed he was exposed to magical energy. The body has not been found. She cried out, "What is this?" and recalled the events between her and the hero, Asher or Verdun. She thought, was that the last time we would meet? Weeping, she said, I don't want to be separated from Verdun like this. He was like family, a dear friend. As she cried, someone took her head and said, "That's enough. Your anger at others won't change anything." She looked up and saw Mr. Valdek asking him, what exactly happened in the magic tower? He explained, as you can see, during the magic festival, the senior mages were outside the tower. During their absence, the power source went out of control. All the mages in the tower, including the duty officer, were completely annihilated. It didn't stop there. Years of accumulated data and research records were also erased. Even the protection circle in the treasure room was damaged, causing irreplaceable loss. Everything in the treasure room, the second circle, the collection of spellbooks, and magical artifacts, all disappeared. The extent of the losses cannot be estimated. But the most painful loss, he thought to himself, damn experimental subject number 77, if only we could have recovered his brain, but we only managed to retrieve some records and achievements. He then told her, but at least we can get revenge. Although we didn't catch the main culprit of the magical explosion, we found a clue. She looked at him and asked, what? He replied, 3 hours before the incident, someone disappeared without a trace. Afterwards, all the tower's connections were used to track this person's movements and past. I found this. He handed her a symbol of the Black Clock. The Black Clock, an organization that not only studies magic secretly, but seeks to control the world through it. What are they doing here? She asked. He responded, we don't know how they infiltrated the tower and caused the explosion, but we are sure of their involvement, and to avenge the souls of those who died unjustly. I intend to form an extermination squad targeting the Black Clock. Rouvain, there's a place reserved for you in this squad. Rouvain crushed the Black Clock symbol. He observed, from the look on your face, it seems you've already made your decision. A new path. The Adventurers Guild. A few days later, at the Adventurers Guild in Bath Lands, someone began first. Let me apologize to Mr. Asher for what happened this time. We classified the goblin threat as high level, so we sent gold rank adventurers, but the results were disastrous. Asher replied, it's fine. It was just a coincidence. The guild member said, thank you for your understanding. And this is the reward certificate for this mission. Asher thought to himself. After adding the ban measure and the reward for bringing a new type of goblin, the total reaches 24 million. After tax deductions, 12 million remains. The guild member added, perhaps you don't know this, but for people not officially registered with the guild, the tax is a fixed 50% on all rewards. Even if we wanted to exempt you, these are the Empire's laws, and violating them could lead to accusations of tax evasion or embezzlement. But there is only one legal way to avoid tax. The hero said, you want me to become an adventurer? The guild member confirmed, that's right. Our guild imposes lower taxes on higher ranked adventurers, and since you're a special case, you'll start at the silver rank. Asher thought to himself, but becoming an adventurer means restricting my future movements. No, what matters more than money now is, Asher then told the guild member, it's fine, I'll settle for this.